I always tell you about the meditation on the Yidam deity. It is a benefit not only for the next life, but also right now in this life. It is a great benefit. Many times I get calls and people say, I have so many problems and I have such a hard time. And every time I say, you have to visualize Tara and you have to practice Tara. I always say that because the mind, when the mind is suffering, that suffering itself, it is a concept, it is a thought, and it arises depending on previously accumulated karma arisen from self-grasping. Now, at a time when the mind is suffering, it is obscured by the suffering. Therefore, it eliminates our wisdom, our intelligence. And in that moment, you have to visualize the Yidam deity very clearly, like seeing in a mirror. Visualize it very clearly. And recall the love and compassion that the deity has. And if you can do that, then the concept, that thought, will go out of existence and your mind will become clean and clear. So depending on the deity visualization, our self-grasping is decreasing and wisdom is increasing. There is therefore truly no better companion, no better friend than the Yidam deity. I always hand out those small round pictures of the Yidam deity, and it should give rise to it in your mind. Now, for example, when you give it to a child and you just tell it to recite Om Taratur Taratur Soha, without you embodying the love and compassion that the deity does, of course, maybe there's these benefits, but you need to completely transform into love that the deity embodies, and that will be beneficial now in this life, but also in future lives to come. In the future lives, when the deity is clearly appearing in your mind, it will be of great benefit, because your life will, your mind in the next life will transform into the deity. So there's a great benefit in this life and in our next life. So it's therefore important to engage in the visualization of deities.
there sama 타를 모래 타를 모래 놓고 저런 모자 요만 남들 요만에 저 따수가 요레스 따수가 요레스 따수가 따수가 모자 요만 남들은 따보고 따수가면 따를 잡게 가려야 돼 여기 제거해 따뜻한 기와 강을 지진요 하래 예전에 내가 제대로 내가 그때부터 두대도 코는 양물 적고 양물 봐보면 양물을 때려보면 나한테는 양물을 보험자 이든 주주 제거는 근데 산이 와서 들이 남이 있잖아 어떻게 내가 용모가 좀 세고 올려래 내가 용모 세서 들이 완전 창기 이것도 통통통을 내고 말이야 내가 용모가 맞아 봐지 빼나 맘에서나 넘때 맞아 봐도 되더라 남들 나타나서 어떤들이 마음에 싫어고 빼대다 나는 레드 맞아 봐도 봐도 되고 레드 세번 가서 기와 좁고 기와 좁나 근데 산이 잠깐만 놓고 놓으러 그래 이런 통통마도 강행한 거지 레로 그 줄을 따라 잡고 줄을 기와 좀 제거해서
So thinking about the future lives is a very long way. So where and how will you go? If you have no car, if you have no plane to go, will you ride a horse? So if you don't have all those, how will you prepare? It is your own diligence, your own efforts. Whenever you can engage in virtuous actions, you have to work, but as soon as you have an empty moment, use it for visualizing the deity, or to meditate, or to recite, to read text. At all times have effort, effort and diligence continuously. When you practice continuously, then in the future all the karmas and afflictive emotions will be exhausted, and then the period of the pardo will be very short. It is just like a butter lamp. As long as there is oil in the butter lamp is burning, but when the oil of the butter lamp is exhausted, when it's gone, then the butter lamp will not be burning anymore. So as soon as we have exhausted all our afflictive emotions, we will not experience the suffering anymore, but we will go straight to the pure realms. Therefore, we shouldn't be lazy, but apply great effort. And here it says, instead of a horse, use effort.
남자라지 내가 됐다 내고나 그냥 다다 먼저 됐다 야 내가 마오들 낳게 요리더니 내가 마오들 하지 누마대로 말해라래 내가 되고 빼대나기 나한테 기와서 대행이 산이 따로미 산나에서 바로 그 가두시치고 말이야 이 데르티를 줄기 달래로데 내로지야로 취직이 강게나 진짜게도 따따따따는 제고 나 산이 처럼 지금 말이 조금 들어 조금 별로 보고 촉다는 데가 민체고를 해서 내로 저거는 뭐 싫어 신을 잡고 줄라 신을 잡고 줄라 좀 내로 맞게 뚫리지 해서 야야
The obstacle for diligence, the enemy of diligence, is laziness. And this is not just in regard to next lives, but also this very life. Laziness is very harmful to this very life. For example, if you have some work to do, and then we just procrastinate it, and we say, I will do it tomorrow, I will do it another time. The work just remains undone, and at one point there is a big heap of work that has not been accomplished, has not been done, and has to be done. So in the same way, when we are not practicing, when we are being lazy, then what happens when we tomorrow, when we were to die? Therefore it says, don't be lazy and practice right now. Practice tonight with strong diligence. We don't know, we might die tomorrow, and if one has practiced diligently, then whenever one is dying, it is fine. But if one has not practiced diligently, then what will happen? So one understanding that, don't be lazy, but be very diligent.
Three minutes is on the three more. Some of it on the Kaya on the Chesama. Kaya Tariki was okay. Tam more mature target. And you're backing it. Tam will eat with the chicken. Tam will chicken. Kayla. Kayla, that. No, two chicken. Tam more Karachi for it. Two. Try and keep on Mare. We are Jogo Mare. 딱 점파가 안 받는 말이에요. 공자시면 공자면 샘도 담아서 거예요. 아다다 쪼비 나네 쪼비 소리 잡아 샘 담아서 저거예요. 루다 광창을 제죠 가보. 아래 딱발 지로 어디 때다 가보. 샘도 담아서 공자로 해서. 공자는 좋아요. 저 몸이 아프면 좀 딱 그거 말이에요. 전부 내고 말이에요.
So after Milarepa has spoken, she was thinking, and then she said, I have not prepared at all for my next lives. My whole life I have done no preparation. So she regretted and confessed, and she said, from now onwards I need to practice the Dharma. I need to commit myself to Dharma practice. So she made a commitment that I'm going to engage seriously in Dharma practice. And Milarepa has said, if you truly want to practice the Dharma, it is not necessary that you give up your family or you give up everything that you have, but you need to meditate. And the purpose of meditation is to purify your mind, and you need to apply great diligence. It is very difficult to always be in mountain retreat, but you need to meditate at all times. And if you do that, then you can also just stay in your family as a householder. So then she was asking Milarepa, so how should I meditate? And Milarepa replied, when you meditate, look at the nature of your mind and let your mind rest in its natural state, just like space, without any grasping, without any boundaries or centers, without any thoughts. Just look at your mind. So rest your mind space-like, and now go ahead and have some tea. So an outer example for the nature of the mind is space, is the sky. The light is just like the sky. When one sees with wisdom the true nature of mind as it is, without any boundaries and without any centers and without any expressions, then one has realized the mind to abide just like space. This is an outer example for the inner mind, space. Then secondly, the example of the sun and moon. That is when, at the moment when our mind is clear, in a state of clarity. In a state of clarity, we are mindful, aware, and we are conscientious. In that state, whichever afflictive emotion or concept arise, we are aware of them, we feel them, and they are liberated on their own accord. There is no grasping to those concepts to be truly existing. That means one is not engaging in actions motivated by attachment or anger. It is just like seeing a beautiful flower. When one does not have mindful awareness, then one sees the flower and one thinks, oh, this is a beautiful flower, I need to buy it, I need to get it. But if one has mindful awareness, then one will think, oh, this is a beautiful flower, but it's just an illusion. It's just a delusion. One will not even think about it even further than that. So that is clarity. Clarity is mindful awareness. As illustrated with the example of sun, which is ever illuminating.
Lindy, Huachiati, Nidani, Pelon, Sandra Pepadi. Tago so you say we get the Sangiana, or say we get the Sangiana to make one who did the carrier of the half of my life. One who did the surgery of our surgery, Saba Kala, or not all the room, the one they are. Sana, this way the less I am, less out of the same job go. Same job, the budget. Oh, some of the lot more, she's at the bar. The new mobile, new mobile bar. The new mobile less are the ledge at the bar. The lady Pachaja and water do so sort of. You mobile can't give a teachings and water do Pachaja. That's to read the Pachaja over there. Don't believe the book. They got church over our mother, read the Demamivate. Pachaja Maze, what the read the the Pachaja mother, read the ship from over there. Pretty Pachaja the bar. The budget and
so that has a very deep meaning. If now one may ask, if the basis of our mind, if the nature of our mind is the Buddha, if we already are the Buddha, why is there a need to meditate? It is because we need to keep up our clarity, our mental awareness. That is, in a state of mental clarity where we are fully mindful and aware. Even if concepts or afflictive emotions arise, they will be rendered powerless. They can do no harm. But if we are not mindful and aware, or we lose clarity, then when concepts or afflictive emotions arise, depending on them, we are engaging in actions, and these actions obscure the nature of our mind. There's 4 obscurations that obscure the nature of our mind. The first one is the obscuration of recognizing the mind as it is. So we are obscured by not seeing the mind's true nature. Then, depending on that, because we are not seeing mind's true nature, we are engaging in actions, which is the second obscuration, the obscuration of karma. The second one is afflictive emotions. And depending on those afflictive emotions, we are engaging in actions, which is the third one. So we have had not seeing the nature of one's mind, afflictive emotions, karmas, and fourth, depending on karmas, we are putting imprints in our mind. These are habitual tendencies in our mind. And it is those habitual tendencies, those imprints, which have formed this body, which is temporary, which is like an illusion, temporary. As soon as at the time when the imprints are exhausted, also this body will go out of existence. So those 4 obscurations, they happen in stages.
도게가 또 뉴모바는 마켓도 하고 하고요. 그거는 아주 예발동도 요래 영동동 좋게도 말이에요. 제 강의들 다 마본네. 공부하기 때문에 따와대 또나 제 공부하고 공부지 이런 거 공부요. 빼는 내 당불값을 몸 잡는 뉴모바 매발동 것으로 정신이 강해나. 뭐저 대나 실학과 공부 따와 이러 말에 실학과 맨날 이시세요. 실학과 맨날 이시 가려야 되기 때문에 얘네 요게 얘기사 토만에 반에 요래 마음발라는 요래 생기는 나빠따로 요래 매야요 말에 얘 시들은 뒤세부 내로 쳐하거나 세우는 거 내로 들어간 거 하거나 또 탐체의 집에 시시사서 세부 내로 또 공지가 취소할 생리 종하다 원래 대통령 동만이니만 다 하고 예시들 진짜 다 다른 것으로 생기던 게 유일해 때 참타와 충청마도 요 말에 때는 뜻을 금지했다고 해요. 양이 뭐가 공수는 사지에 담시 나중에 매체 뭐 짝탑난 거 매했다고 해요. 짝탑난 거 매했다고 해요. 현당 뭐 가리가는 람상 매는 철도거든. 나중에 이게 충청은 남도 충청도 나온 양식 용이 나도 충청 때문에 공자 파역한 미도 있지는 공자는 세미 시라블라티는 남도 미도도 지나 이 유익자담 공라티는 남도 담시 현는 일이 그래라도 계시대 매다고 유체 매배 공자는 이 시대 요말을 레전드 체를 오래 촉체를 놓고 나도 같이 생각했더니 이 시대 매다고 나도 생각을 했더니 몸 유는 거죠. 미라레파 가서 몸 야지 대리스는 거래. 근데 이 시대 촉체보 차를 딱 내죠. 다 연구에 가야 높아요 말이야. 그래는 미라레파를 나게 콘트롤 감지 가는 때나 미라레파 가는 또 오는 말이야. 어쩌고 내만 말에 이렇게 오라라. 막 가야지.
So we always hear that the root of our suffering is our afflictive emotions. So we all know that. But yet we don't know how to eliminate our afflictive emotions. We know that they are the root of our suffering, the cause of our suffering, and yet we try to eliminate them and we can't. That is because, for that reason, we need meditation. For that reason, we need to habituate our mind. When one wishes to realize the view, it is a question of habituation of the mind, not of the realization itself. One needs to abide with it. One needs to habituate one's mind to it. In the beginning, as beginning practitioners, the reason why we cannot eliminate immediately our afflictive emotions is because the flame of our wisdom is very small. So here wisdom or primordial wisdom in Tibetan means yeshe. Those two parts, ye and she. Ye means original. That means it has always been there since beginning of time, and it will always be there in the future. It is abiding like space and it cannot be destroyed. That is ye, original, and she is that awareness that realizes the nature of mind, that is the all-knowing awareness, that realizes that all phenomena of samsara and nirvana have arisen from the mind and are empty of self-nature. So that's the meaning of yeshe, or primordial wisdom. Now, we do have some yeshe, some wisdom, but it is very small. It is very, it's like a tiny little flame. Now, when a very strong afflictive emotion arises, when a very strong concept arises, we don't have that fire, that little flame does not have the strength to burn that afflictive emotion up. But as we are increasing our wisdom, that flame is growing stronger and greater. And in that state, as it grows greater, however many concepts are arising, they will be burned up by the flame. You can see the flame to be like your wisdom, and the afflictive emotions and the concepts like wood. In the beginning, when you put a lot of wood in a small flame, it will not be able to burn it up. But later on, when the flame has been developed and is very, very great, then however much wood you will put inside, it will be able to consume it. It will become stronger and stronger. So this we do through habituation. Every day we habituate our mind, and every day the wisdom fire will become stronger. That is the meditation that Milarepa has taught. So when the wisdom fire is very big, then no matter how many demons or afflictive emotions are arising, they will have no power. Milarepa was known for defeating all demons and obstacles because of his great wisdom, and because he did not grasp at them to have any self-reality. generally in other texts, in for example, Dzogchen Temple texts, there is so there. So Rinpoche actually said I shouldn't like mention that because it's not really part of this text, but now I started already. So, so in that other context, the body, speech, and mind would be. There are 4 examples given for body, speech, and mind. The body should be like a mountain, and the speech like an ocean, and the mind like space. Here in this text, the same examples are given: the mountain, the ocean, and the space. But here they all refer to the mind. It shows the unchanging nature of the mind. So when the mind is like a mountain, strong like a mountain, then no matter how strong the wind is that blows, no matter how strong the wind blows, it cannot shake the mountain. So when the mind is like a mountain, then no matter how strong the concepts are that arise, they will not be able to shake the mind. So meditate on the mind like a mountain. Then meditate on the mind like an ocean. When you have an ocean, maybe on the surface of the ocean is moving, but in the depths of the ocean, no matter how strong the wind is blowing on the surface, the depth of the ocean remains unmoving. In the same way, rest your mind. And then the third one actually here is not space-like, but it says guard your mind like guarding a jewel from a thief. Always being aware and thinking a concept could arise. I must guard my mind from getting distracted and falling under the sway of those concepts. Just like when one has a wish-fulfilling jewel in one's house, one would always guard that jewel from thieves to come that would take it away. And so in the same way, guard your mind from distraction, because when distraction happens, then afflictive emotions arise, and then we create actions, karmas. So therefore, keep your mind constantly aware and guard your mind like a jewel. And then the next one, that's number 3, and then 4, is have no doubts, questioning the state of questioning your mind. Is it this or is it not this? So have no doubts.
나보다 뭐 총총 나보고 양도 봤다는 거. 로고 공부들하고 나 현종도 좀 맞게 그래서 제 공부를 따라야 되죠. chen 모두 뭐 째도 어느 뒤가면 양 못해 되다 강해져. 그래서 몇 배지 않는 몰라. sempre 공부 데모 생각 나도 좀 나도 제총을 하죠. 뭐 성은 근데 강해져 혹시 다 어떻게 하시고
And then she got instructed that about the physical posture. It is the sevenfold posture of Vajrayana. There are many different traditions on how it is explained, but mainly it is important that the spine at the back is completely straight. If the spine is straight, if the body is straight, then one's channels are straight, and when one's channels are straight, one's winds are straight, and when one's winds are straight, one will be able to move it through the central channel if one is able to gather it at the middle chakra, and then one's mind needs to abide. So there is a posture for the body, and the mind needs to abide quietly, and then meditate on that for a very long time. So she went and meditated and had many good experiences, and also obstacles have arisen. So she asked again, she asked her teacher, Milarepa, when I meditate my mind to be like space, that is a good meditation, but I find it difficult when clouds arise. What shall I do when clouds arise? Or when I meditate on the moon, that is excellent, but around the moon suddenly many countless little stars appear. Or when I meditate on the mountain, and suddenly I'm aware of all the trees and bushes growing on the mountain. That makes me feel uncomfortable. What should I do about it? So basically what it means is that it is those small concepts that are constantly arising that are very harmful to our meditation. So when we only abiding on the nature of our mind, then it seems to be joyful. But as soon as those small little thoughts are arising, we experience difficulties.
제가 다음 말을 이렇게 쓰면 겠다. 낙화 공도 내가 네 소비 낙화랑 이미 연구요래. 소비 될 세바만 소비 낙화 장소에 낙화랑 그 나게 줘. 낙화게 소비는 더 맛이 없고 말해. 로다고 공적으로 또 대신에 오르송은 대신에 주도 제거 말해. 대신 코랑 이기에나 이세는 요래. 잡초 공도 되면 잡초 발았대. 잡초 한거 발았대. 말을 한 거나 막 손도 오래. 저때 빼들이 망고 가시요 이제. 얘는 사태 망고도 보고 말해. 동네 되네. 샘당 남도 왔니. 가가 말해. 샘은 남도 왔니. 뭐가 최종을 하죠. 망고 손라야. 남도 왔으면 저바 맞고 그냥도 빠져 말해. 그러면 잡초도 발았니. 마도 발았니. 치보는 걸 잡초 가서는 발을 해놔라고 좀 인간적으로 어떻게 하면 발았니. 약간 미로. 발았다 저기 집발에 잡고 집발에 좀 고아차 근처 상 라가 세는 때가 참참 들이 요가 촉 쳐보 째고 이거 빛이 촉 쳐보고 근데 미다가 미로 거기 봐봐 좀 들이 빛이 되는 거 내 마음에 보시네 빛이 나서 내가 얘기하면 미도 요래 그 미저 때를 빼는 나또 충성이나 춥다고 말이야 남이 없니까 너무 동이 촉치고 양 대는 초라 촉치고 제 당시 제로 가면 세 번째는 가인 거 거기 왕이 거 제 마셔가지고 다 제가 그 촉차 촉파도 시당 집어 제로 가 그리 원래 대장부터 보면 그런 제가 그런 경우에 당들이 이거는 뭐 감정 되잖아 이 말때문에 시당 tanti io mi faccio 자동차 좋아하는 게 좋다잖아. 그냥 용어라 딱 빠르거든요. 이거 것이 나는 또 많이 또 소리. 가지 시장은 가지고 야. 이 전체적으로 보면 뭐 그런 용어 관련 사업에 가서 그걸 봐. 이거는 이게 참아대 생당 남도니 남도는 한 개고 말이지 남도 세미 좀 봐야 돼 세미 기시오는 남도 좀 봐야 돼 그래서 좀 됐죠 참 뭔게 참 그래
So Milarepa has said, has replied, when you meditate on the mind abiding like space, then clouds will arise. Clouds naturally come, but you need to recognize them to be the magical display of the sky, like an illusion, and they will go out of existence by themselves. So have no grasping to the clouds arising. They will just vanish back into the sky as they have arisen. When you meditate on a mountain, do not grasp, hold on to the trees or to the bushes. When you just ignore them, when you just leave them as they are, they naturally will disappear. Or another example is the example with the ocean and the waves. The ocean and the waves are not separate, even though they may appear, a wave may appear very powerful and very strong, rising from the ocean, but yet they are both water and not separate. What this all is to say is that the mind and the concepts are not separate, they are not different. When you recognize the concepts as they arise without any grasping, then they will be rendered powerless. Just like an ocean, when a very strong, a very great wave is arising, we would naturally have fear, we would be afraid of the big wave. But recognizing that the wave itself is in the nature of water and is not separate from water and will again dissolve into water, eliminate our fear. So when a very strong afflictive emotion is arising, when you recognize it with mindful awareness, then no matter how strong it is, it will just dissipate in itself. So when very small concepts are arising, then we don't even have to apply any effort, we just leave them be and leave them dissipate again. Naturally they will dissipate. But sometimes afflictive emotions and also great bliss arises very strong, and then naturally we get involved in it, we get distracted, we completely get overpowered by it. Especially the afflictive emotion of anger gets a hold of us very strongly. When you recognize that, do not speak in anger, and recognize that the fault lies in the afflictive emotion of anger. Recognize that every time it arises, and day by day, slowly you will melt the hard ice block into water as you gain experience, because you have realized that its nature actually is empty of felt nature. Then when you habituate your mind to it, then in the future it will be very easy for you to eliminate afflictive emotions the moment they arise. So in brief, what that is to say is mind and its concepts are not separate. So therefore, there is no need of having any fear of our concepts when we just recognize them at all times with our mindful awareness. And practicing in this way, the girl, Onion, So the girl Nima, Onion, the girl, practicing in this way, she did not have to. There was no need for her to go into mountain retreat, and also she didn't have to cut her hair and become ordained. She just was staying at home as a householder and could and practice. And in the end, it is said that she has obtained the rainbow body and has become a true yogini. So, for the future, Rinpoche says we should remember her name. Because the story that she wrote about Milarepa's life is really in accordance with the real story, and therefore it's important for us to study it.
야, 다 생물 때는 뭐 가리나 삼나. 그게 나빠다고 통스. 알아. 그게 나빠다고 생포나 또 생들라. 왜 가야라 좀 내가 다리 편이 엄마 바다 보는 소원에 나빠다고 자꾸 그 바다 잡아. 가리까지 해봐. 원래 무고 납치했던 여가에 나빠도 말해. 가리 제일 요만해. 나빠는 게 통송서. 남들 미라레파네. 见这这边哦，知道哪个到了同，OK。
你跟来个什么？你就松松，松那
没来，
松
松山没讲来吧？松山没讲来吧？没讲来知了。这两年可以接有，就讲的大力就有，也不来是哪个领导的。
There was another disciple of Milarepa called Nigom Repa. He gets the name Repa, which means Re means a cotton cloth. You get this name when you are accomplished in the practice of Dumo, which is in the heat. Then you don't need any other clothes besides a cotton cloth because you don't feel the cold. That is actually to get the name Repa is a great honor. It shows that one has great qualities. For example, one could meditate on the high snow mountains of Lapchi, only wearing a cotton cloth through mastering inner heat. Now, his disciple Migom Repa, he asked Milarepa, how do you practice? How do you train your mind? And Milarepa answered, when I practice, when you practice, you have to look at your mind. You have to look. The mind is watching its own nature. You have to look at the nature of the mind. Non-arisen and seeing directly its true essence. You have to watch your mind. Its essence is unelaborated, just like space. Cannot said to be existent or non-existent. There is nothing to do to it. It just abides like space, empty of self-nature. This is what I have realized. So mind's essence, which is unelaborated, just like space, when one leaves it just as it is, then one realizes the nature of all phenomena. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana have been created by mind, and if one leaves it just naturally, without grasping, abiding just like space, then one realizes everything that appears to be empty of self-nature. It is not as though everything is just going out of existence, becoming nothingness, but things arise, but the mind does not have any grasping to them. However many things one sees, they cannot do any harm to one.
네 나시 뉴피 탐체 렘발 맞아 봐. 동반이라. 그래서 과차 거라. 올해 추상는 배장 활동제네 근데 추상제 유제에만 맞다 그지 하고 봐. 근데 너무 대단 하고네 올해 주배시라고 되는 사실 동고요래. 주배시라고 대단 출나요? 요새도 요아리 것도 그게 나중이야. 근데 요래. 요바 되나? 다리 주배시라고 파라래다. 요바들은 양 이용전 이제 봐요 봐. 이제 봐요 보이구나. 세부대로 가서 이전에 맞아 봐도 주배시라고 되는 하고요래. 얘는 미 이제도 아무 건도 봐도 땅하고 말이야. 가서 하고 살잖아. 근데 도구로 세부대로 가서 이제 봐 매고 가면 이전에 요 말이지. 매와지 다른 곳에 세부대 봐 가서 근데 문에 매왔더니 나빠서 빼나 자제를 와.
So to realize all phenomena to be empty of self-nature is not what we ordinary beings immediately do. We again and again have graspings to phenomena as they are arising. So we are depending on studies, listening and reflecting and meditating to get first an understanding of the fact that all phenomena are not substantially existing things, have no true reality to them, and are empty of self-nature, and all phenomena are everything compounded is impermanent. One can get an understanding through reading scriptures, for example. So first we are depending on the wisdom arising from listening and contemplation. And in that state, of course, there is self and others, there is a duality. But generally, to that existence of them, we naturally have a grasping. As soon as self or others appear, we have a grasping to them. But then when one looks at its nature, at the nature of the mind, then when one has realized it, one sees that it all has no true existence. From the beginning on its basis, it does not have any self-existence whatsoever. And in that state one will think, what have I been thinking? I have had so many graspings to things to be substantially existent before. When one has realized they have all dissipated in a state of non-apprehension.
다다고도 뭐가 뭐라지 당장 뭐라는데 얘 동안이지 다다니 봐도 내 무슨 갖다 여와요 미디나 여와 무슨 여러 해도 돼도 하 배지다 되잖아 다다 뭐랑 동안이 산이 시선 좀 뭐랑 나긴 거거든 이세야요 말이지 이세야 내가 뭐랑들 다 제도 뭐랑 잡은 거 저는 뭐랑 되고 뭐 찾아잖아 드리상 어떤 다这边就给中国的说呢，这得到什么帮助？这个做什么就是这把的意思，这里还好了，还不可能，让这中国吧，
So this is something a little difficult to understand for beginners. Some beginner may see a person. And then when you tell that person, oh, that person is empty of self-nature, then he would say, you're stupid, what are you talking about? How can you say that person is empty? You don't have to look at the person as a person, but think you have to look at its nature, the nature of the person. If you understand the nature of one person, you have understood the nature of all beings in the 6 realms. So now we are having this conversation with somebody, and this person says this is a person. So you ask the person, so who is that person? Is it that body? Is it this one? And then he would reply, yes, that's the person. Then one would answer, but what happens when the person dies? When the body dies, then it's just a corpse. Is that corpse then also a person? And then he has to answer, no, the corpse can never be a person. So what is then the person? The corpse cannot be a person. So then the person would say, oh, that the person is human, is a mind. It's the mind. Good, then you have to look at your mind. And when you look at your mind, searching for the person, you will be lost. Because it cannot be determined to be or not to be the mind. So then one has doubts on whether the mind is the person or is not the person. So there's many debates in logic when they talk about compounded phenomena. It is a compounded phenomena and it is impermanent. It is like empty of self-nature, and yet it is functioning and it is doing things. So what is it? The Buddha has said it is just like a dream. We have been born in this life as the children of our mothers, and will be that until we die. And when we die, it will be just like waking up from a dream. This life will appear to be just like a dream when we die. Right now, when we go to sleep tonight and we have a dream, then we wake up and we say, oh, that was just a dream, it's just emptiness, that was not real, now it's real, that's real life. But yesterday we have talked about it when somebody asked a question about the hell realms, if hell realms do really exist or not. Now, it is in the same way. Now, this present life and every life exists just like a dream, and when we die, we will wake up from the dream, and then the partial state will become reality. Jigten Sungen has said, to make that understandable, this life, all the future lives, and the partial state are really one and the same, no difference.
대다 하고도 소나 이 사제가 까라 때문에 되는 거 속에 선두지기 사제게 내가로 사제게 유지 잠시 다 봐지 이책 찍고대 선두지기 유지 다 홀로 나 그게 심지 다다대장이 미지가 저거다나 리셈지가 다 봐래 드리스당상 선두지기 나비 심지 니라 대바리 삼주대 시작부터 선대 지워야 뭐 선대 흘러 차야 뭐라 대 차선을 가리 펴려야 야 나버리도 다 털거려야 돼다 제고 하고요 다 다른 나버리도 털거리도 다 가리 버려 나버리도 털서는 미적을 맞고 요 말 토소는 유대 시에서 세비식이요 말이야. 너블이 이미 작가셔. 너블이 토소는 가리카리. 다 사제로 써와도 생긴 삼성이 손을 맞고 몰란다. 가야 하래야 이거 말이야. 들이 세분이로 고. 들이와 유대상 좀 다 빠빠고 뒤에다 민경난 거 말이야. 뒤에다 빈토가 뒤에는 무슨 돈분 먹으러 또 세분이로 시설을 들이 또 배워요 말이야. 이제 밤에나 다 대화를 이제 봐요 말이야. 대화를 시봐요 말이야. 대화를 용초를 때 대화를 시봐면 야 대화면 동의 살마 동의를 이제 밤에 제도 내가 제 민은 남만으로도 저 봐요 이제 말이야. 다도 세분이로 기도 내가 제 민은 남만으로도 저 봐요 이제 대개 때문에 무슨 똥 먹고 또 소나 성격이 있다. 나는 생각 나쁘고 탐지는 더 밤에나 그 생각 나빴다고 하지요라. 다쳤다고만 하니 잘 다쳤다는 게 뭐라. 그 똥 또
Then if one understands, depending on the Buddha's speech, that all outer phenomena, the outer container, the world, the universe, is going to be destroyed. Just like the Buddha has said, all compounded phenomena are impermanent. Or the outer world, the outer container, the universe will be destroyed. It is in the nature of impermanence. And all beings, all bodies will be destroyed. So both inner and outer, the outer world and the inner sentient beings, both are impermanent and they have no inherent existence. When one understands that, then one's mind will become at ease, and that is a great benefit. So these days also the scientists know that the world will be destroyed at some point. And when the world is destroyed, all the bodies will be destroyed. But the mind itself can never be destroyed. It will not go out of existence. Or the people will go out of existence. So the mind will not go out of existence. Therefore, we make supplication prayers and supplicate the Buddhas not to send sentient beings into the lower realms. If one has realized the nature of one's mind and realized that all phenomena are impermanent, one will have no fear, one will have no grasping, no holding on to. When one experiences great happiness, great bliss, one will not be attached to it, one will have no grasping to it. When one experiences bliss, it is alright to experience it, but one does not need to grasp at it, hold on to it. And also one will not hold on to suffering when suffering arises. So both Milarepa has taught, it is the supreme instruction that between both happiness and suffering is not the slightest difference. When your mind has no concepts and no holding on to, no apprehension, it will remain just like space, just like water, in a purified state without any stains or obscurations.
대다오도 또 하나 나중에 몸 자도 남이 제고 삼지기 로지 오면 다 그런 제고 말이야. 다 생기면 나빠져도 대다마 다 갈래. 다 콜레가 그냥 매 랭기 보르에 진도체 랭기 보르도 다 나서는데 다몸 자고 좀 봐요 이거 말이야. 나도 나도 내몸 담치면은 랭기 보르에 진도체 다 같이 이렇게 싸움을 좀 가요. 생나 봤다고 그러는데 강양 싸움이에요 말이야. 강양 마사 랭기 보르에 진도체 럭양사 매지 주 어떤 뭐하는 사자 참아 좀 뭐하는 똥상 속에 와서 싸워 럭양사 매지 주 딜까지 가려니 나 상기의 기반 문에 나면 생들이 산지에 샘수 모시대 쉐도 들자 맞지도 랑 샘수 산지에 땅에 덕고 산지 lok하게 덕고를 강해로만 덕산지로야 네 덕산지로야 뭐요 예 하고 좋아
and when one has realized that, then the wish to meditate, thinking I need to meditate or I need to practice, also has ceased. It's that mind, that wish to meditate and practice, also is not there. Just without thinking anything, the mind just abides like space. No thinking of there is a need for meditation or not. In that state there is no afflictive emotions, there is no thoughts, so it abides like space, and in that state all the places of the 6 types of transmigration are empty of self-nature. In that state one recognizes one's own mind to be the mind of the Buddha, and in that state there is neither the thought I need to practice nor the thought I do not want to practice.
제일 배차야가 심지 당초에 되는 상제요에 사제 생성 모습이고 아마 저도 짱말이에요. 근데 저도 예전에 추자도 아마 답동은 저도 말이에요. 이 답동은 저도 봐도 야라는 다다다 지르게 쳤다마서 오요라. 쳤도 봐도 야도 맞아야 쳤다마 또 봐주네. 다들 사족 듣나마 좀 되더니 싸우고만 나또 유무가 참아 배봐도 쳤다마 차서 쳤다마 제발 요 말이 쳤다마 제발 쳤다마 차서 진짜 상태 상제에 우리 하고 사제 생성 모습에 제도도가 맞죠. 참아 상제 하고 나는 계시 봐도 깨다 그때 니쳐도 담아 담아래 또 어떻게 저도 가게 아니 저도 가게 아니 저도 양자 담아 돌리요래 담아 돌리요래니까 다 제가 미팅이라고 하면 참 담아 저 담아 저기 저기 봐 조금 좀 왔다 가는 거지요. 나는 요만이니까 그때 담아 잡담아 생긴 그 상견들이 상으로 해 하고
So an example for that all sentient beings are originally the Buddha, have the Buddha on their basis is when one first, for example, has pure water and then one uses this water, for example, to wash clothes, then the water becomes dirty. Still, both waters are water. One is dirty water and one is clean water. But these days, the scientists have, science has improved, and they these days know how to purify dirty water. So after one has washed the clothes and they have the water has become very dirty, then the scientists use some machines to make the water clear again and pure. In the same way, we can purify our mind stream that has become dirty through understanding bodhicitta and karma, cause and effect. All our afflictions, our defilements will be eradicated, and in the end what is left is just a pure mind, a clean mind, which is the Buddha itself. In the same way, water has always been water, either in a pure state or in an impure state. It still is water. Now, when we have purified our mind, it has become pure water, and we have realized that we are Buddha, and in fact, all and every sentient beings is Buddha.
남바지한테 가래를 따라 사지를 따라요. 사지 가래를 사지 좀더 이렇게 semti nam sangye ni ongdang lower tomato no dari lower nega topa chasmoes ongdang lower tomato toma delta sangye uvid topa tama topa tama sangye re pa sangye ba sure send minute to sangye so no 생보다는 서로 로도로 다주 상계 말이에요. 생보다는 서로 같구나. 생매 빠져요. 다 도르베. 내가 상계 대형 사천 명은 좋아했을 상계마도 로사요 말아. 용왕가서 정말 상계 서로가 로사요 말이에요. 보통 나 이미 나 상계가 미되나 저거라. 나 상계 늦게 미돼. 좀 상계 교육을 나 상계가 미되나 같이 되나 소리 마도. 나 남바 미되나 그 셈도 여기 상계 교육. 남바 미서도 봐라. 셈도 서로 셈매나 상계 말이야. 셈매나 상계 말이야. 얘네 용왕아들 셈이 오면 용왕아 사지라고 이러마. 사지 똥반이를 오래. 사지 뭐가 쭉장으로 말. 셈되면은 되니. 셈이 쭉장으로 오면 셈은 셈제 상계 들어와. 사지 셈이 송세. 알아서?
Yeah. When somebody would say, I'm a Buddhist, or I'm not a Buddhist, or I don't need the Buddhist view. When one speaks like that, then it means just because the Buddhist view is the Buddha, and what is the Buddha? It is inherent in every sentient being. It is inherent in the mind of every sentient being. It is just that our minds have been temporarily obscured by stains. That is only temporarily. On our basis, on our ground, we all are the Buddha. All sentient beings are the Buddha. If there would be no mind, then there would be nothing, because Buddhahood arises from mind. When one were to say, I don't want to attain enlightenment, I can't attain enlightenment, you can say that, but you can't say that you don't have the Buddha cause in your mind, because every sentient being does have the Buddha cause, the Buddha nature in one's mind. So the mind has nowhere to go outwardly, outside. Even the four elements are pervaded by Buddha. They are Buddha, since they are empty of self-nature.
Very good.
Page 15.